Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And on this episode we were over in Crushbone at the wall with my Cleric, who happens to be level 12 now. I actually just got to level 12 probably about 30 minutes ago, and I've already gotten close to a bubble now, so the experience here is still somewhat good. But as I said before, as you go up in level, you're gonna need to go inside the throne room there if you can get inside there. It's pretty hard though. There's a lot of constant pull and there's not a lot of downtime in there because the creatures spawn so quickly, and they are a bit higher level, so you're going to need at least a good tank and preferably at least a decent healer, maybe two not so great healers to be able to keep up with it, because it is so quick. It's one pull after the other. It's not like this right here where we have a little bit of downtime in between fights to kind of med up and rest and things of that sort. It's you're going to be fighting one creature, and when that guy is dead, you'll get another two. And when that guy's dead, you'll probably get another two and another two, and so on and so forth. Literally no breath in between fights. If it was in real life, your guy would probably die of exhaustion from fighting like that. But in here, it's not that big of a deal as long as your power can keep up with it. Now, having an Enchanter in there doesn't really do a whole lot. Yeah, it's going to make it where the Cleric's power doesn't go down as fast because you can do one attack at a time with one creature attacking you instead of, two. So you'll get a lot less power being used. But the creatures spawn so quickly that they're going to add up. They're going to have like 5, 6, 7 guys there waiting, all mezzed, and eventually the Enchanter's not going to be able to keep up with it. You literally need to fight at least 2 guys at one time to be able to keep up with that room. And you're like, well, you can only really fight one. Well, yeah, you can, but if you have damage shields on and things of that sort, the other creature will be getting hurt while it's attacking you, and therefore when you switch over to it, it will be at like 3 bubbles of life, 2 bubbles of life. I remember we had one fight that we were doing. We had like 6 guys on us fighting us, and we didn't have an Enchanter, but we did have damage shields on. And by the time we got to the last guy, he had like 5% life left on him. And that was just from him beating on the tanks and the people in our group so much that the damage shield had whittled it down, and it took so long to get to him because we killed the other ones that what is he doing? Oh, he's pulling the Legionnaires. That he was almost dead by the time we switched over and actually started attacking him. So with that kind of attacking going on, it's going to use a lot more of the Cleric's power because he's obviously healing a tank who's getting hit by 5 or 6 creatures at once. But pretty much the only way you keep up in there. Now, 5 or 6 people at once is a little high. It's probably going to be around 2 on average. 2 creatures at the same time. That's just going to be constant over and over and over again. But that's one of the reasons it makes that room so good, is that the experience in that room is just, it just slowly, you'll see your bar just slowly moving, go up, 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 and never stops. It's not like out here. Well, now we have a little delay and a little break in the fighting. It spawns and repops in there so quickly that you shouldn't have any issues like that. Also, you got to keep in mind that there's a lot of stuff to pull. You can go up here to the tower right here. I don't know why my button's stuck. You can go up to the tower. You'll see a little guy right there to the right inside that little room in between the little windows. You can go up behind the throne room's chair and pull those guys. They're a little bit higher level, and you can possibly get some good loot off of them. And if you are, for some reason, managing to go through everything they have in the throne room, which I've never seen a group actually do, you can come out here to the wall and pull this stuff too if there's not a group. But like I said before, I've never seen a group do that. Even when the zone's completely and totally camped, you usually do not see any group in there able to keep up with the spawns. It's just that quick. But at this level, that's probably where I should be. But I can't seem to find a group that can go in there. There's no group in there right now. It's just that there's not enough higher level people in here. We don't have a good tank capable of doing that. We do have a monk here trying to help us out a little bit. Not quite sure, what he's doing. He's doing it for belts and pads. So any belts and pads that drop, we go ahead and give it to him. In return, he pulls out the creatures for us. But I haven't really seen a difference. Everything he's doing is what we were doing before he got here, and we were doing it just as well. So, not that I'm really broken up about the pads and the belts. I really never cared about those. A little bit of extra platinum every once in a while, but other than that, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to check out this because a lot of the stuff that's dropping is better than the stuff I got for turning in those belts. And this is almost the exact same thing. You got the rawhide mask and the small tattered mask. Both are face items, both are 2 AC. Let's see, rawhide mask actually weighs about twice as much, and it's used on the same people. But the tattered mask has a race restriction. You can see it only has 6 races, where the other one has quite a few more. Trolls, ogres, iskars, dark elves can use it, so that's kind of nice. If you're gonna have an item like this, you might as well have one, especially if they're the exact same. Pick the one that has more people who can use it. So later on down the road, if you decide you want to sell it or give it to somebody, more people are able to use that item, and therefore you probably will get a higher price for it. Not always the case though, because there are plain armor that drops that's very specific on who can use, very specific on the classes and things of that sort, and those pieces of armor, since they're some of the best ones in the game, are still really, really good. I guess we'll go with that. Well, thank you. Go ahead and destroy this right here. Let's see, what did he give us? Let's tell him thank you first. Where's the button? THROR. Thanks. Let's see what he gave us right here. Servant's cap and this ring. Wow, those are pretty nice. Gonna go put that on real quick so he knows that we're not just gonna keep it and not wear it. Put this ring on. It'll be our first ring that we're getting. Why can't I wear it? Ivory bracelet. Oh, I'm putting it on the wrong item. I'm an idiot. It's not a ring, it's a bracelet. Very cool. So 3 agility, 20 mana. 20 mana is always nice to have. It's going to give us extra little power. And then the hat is 3 wisdom and 3 intelligence. So it's good for pretty much any class. I mean, everybody uses either wisdom or intelligence, other than like a monk and stuff like that, who's probably not going to use any of that. But those are really, really nice stuff. So that's really nice. Like I said before, there's just so many nice people in this game. I didn't know this guy. I've never really talked to him. He just checked my armor and he decided, hey, you could use a couple of pieces. I'm going to go ahead and give them to you. And so that's just the way they are in this game, which is just really amazing. I can't wait until I'm high enough level and I actually have some gear that people can use so I can do the same thing. In fact, I may just go ahead and give some of this gear away. It's not the greatest in the world, but it may be better than what some of the newer people are using out there. And I have quite a bit of it, so not those. Yeah, a little bit there. In fact, I can go ahead and drink this alcohol to clear up some space. And you can see my stats kind of went down because I drank alcohol. But the effects don't last very long. Usually, if you're going to do the drinking the alcohol, you want to be a tank. Tanks will have their strength go up. And you can kind of think about it in the sense that anybody who's ever gotten drunk or, you know, gone out drinking, you do feel that sense of euphoria that you're stronger than you really are, that you can do things that you really can't do. You know, you get a little bit overconfident sometimes. That's kind of what it's doing. It's giving you that extra little boost of strength because you don't feel the pain like you normally would if you were sober. And so that's kind of cool that they kind of integrated that into the game, so that tanks will sometimes do that, and they're take the little penalty that you get with like agility and stuff like that that goes down, because obviously if you're drunk you're not going to be able to do, or at least not going to be able to do them as well. For most people, I'm not going to say everybody, because there's some people out there who could probably function really well drunk, but for the most of us, you know, you're not going to be able to do like cartwheels and flips and things like that stuff, very acrobatic kind of things while you're drunk. You could probably will be more willing to try it, but you're going to look like an idiot in the end, and you'll probably feel like you just did it perfectly and that you're awesome at it if you're completely, you know, off your rocker with it, but not something I would suggest doing if you're drunk. And like I said, it's kind of cool that they integrated that into the stats. And you can see right there, my agility went down, my wisdom went down, my intelligence went down. And if you keep drinking, your strength and I believe stamina might even go up. I know it's strength for sure. I did a whole video where I got so drunk with one of my guys that as you continue to drink, your actual perception of the world around you will change. It will start to be skewed and will twist and be pulled, so that you have like this beer goggles on you. It's not quite in the sense that it makes everything more beautiful or you know, vibrant or anything like that, but it does change your view, so it's very hard to move around corners, and your guy will eventually start to literally sway from the left to the right, back and forth, with you not even doing anything. You will literally be standing still, but your guy will be moving back and forth. So if you do that in a pretty rough zone, something like you know, when you're up in the plane of air, or you're going around a corner of a big cliff, you will literally fly off the cliff. He is literally swaying from one side to the other, so you will fly off of that. XP, stupid keyboard. But it's kind of interesting, and it does have its uses. It's just like with anything else, you want to make sure you use it in moderation and learn how to use it rather than abuse it, because if you do, like I said, when you're swaying back and forth, you can't cast a spell, because you can't cast a spell while you move, and that's exactly what you're doing. XP is nice with him helping. I guess it's not really that big of a deal to me. And I am out of space in all my backpacks from looting up all this stuff. But I did get my next level spells at level 14. I have them right there and right there. Looking forward to that. I get a new heal spell there. That's going to be pretty sweet. Camp check. Did they do a camp check? I never saw a camp check. Go ahead and call the wall out as well, so that they know. Is it 62? So 62 to 69. Throne room free then. Yeah, I'm above it. So there's somebody up there in the throne room. I guess that's why we're not going in. Where is he at? There he is. Oh, he's almost dead. 24%. 31. So my heal still does a good deal of healing on him. 40%. Probably going to run out of power here, but... And I believe you can bind wound only up to 40%. So keep that in mind. Oh, he's up to 86%. There we go. Wish I had more space. I'd loot these bodies, but just don't have it. And you can see right here, if you're playing a Necro, I've mentioned it a couple times in my videos, but it's something that a lot of newer players don't realize you can do, is you can actually give your pet one-handed weapons, and they can have two of them. Or you can give them a two-handed weapon and they'll use that as well. You'll also get pets later on that are like rogue pets. Like right now, I think you have a tank pet, but later on you can get an actual rogue pet, and you can give them little daggers. And if they have the daggers, when they are behind the enemy, if they're not taunting, if they're not the main tank, you got a warrior, a paladin, or a shadow knight, or somebody who can steal the aggro and keep it. Your pets come out from behind them. They can literally backstab the creature and do an enormous amount of damage, kind of like the rogues will do. So it's kind of cool that you'll get different abilities with different pets, but you do have to give them weapons. So what a lot of Necros will do is either carry around a set of, you know, rusty weapons that they don't necessarily need, that are real cheap, that they can kind of just toss away, and when the pet dies, they don't really have to worry about, oh, I lost those weapons and things of that sort. Or you will log on and you go over to like Eastern Commons, where there's a lot of people looking for people to buy and sell stuff, and you ask a mage to summon you some enchanted weapons. Enchanted weapons are cool because they don't cost anything other than power to make. You may cost you a few platinum here and there if you're having somebody make them for you. But when you log out or go link dead, those weapons will disappear, which is not really that big of a deal, because if you log out and go link dead, your pet will disappear anyway. So just keep that in mind as well. There's a little bit of a downside to it. Enchanter's been AFK for a while now. I'm not that big of a deal. I mean, let him get the experience. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, he's leeching. Well, really? I mean, yeah, he kind of is, but who cares? It's not like we're having trouble killing these things right now, and most of the time they come back. Most of the time they come back and they have a good reason for going AFK. My wife just got home. I had to spend some time with her. She got into a big long story about her day at work. I couldn't get back to the game. Sorry guys, he was gone for like 5-10 minutes. Not that big of a deal. If he had told us that his wife had just got home and he needed to go AFK for about 5-10 minutes, most groups would be okay with that in the first place. But it seems like if you don't tell the group, sometimes they get all huffy and puffy and be like, let's just boot him out and find somebody else. Okay, is leaving any pads for him? It seems like every time I try to log my wizard on, I get disconnected. So, I guess maybe he's having some issues getting into the game. Let's see, so we're pretty good on power now. Let's go ahead and say 90%. I'm not sure if one of our guys in the group is letting him know when we're ready, or if he's just looking for more stuff because there's people in the throne room killing. And he's still at 87%. No, he's almost dead. Go ahead and toss him another heal so he doesn't die. Alright, he was pretty low on life. I don't know what level he is, but definitely needs to sit down for a minute, rest. What's he want bracers for? Let me ask him if he wants some bracers. I got tons of those. And 71% is probably pretty good. Go hold off. I need more power. Let him know I'm only about 20%, probably about 30, but it's usually better to be on the low side rather than the high side, because if you say 30%, you only have 25. If one of you could use take, I got tons of these. Let me see if this is what it is. how do I drag it down there in the hotbar? See if that's what he wants. If it is, it would clear up some space for me at least. Wish I could spell, but it's really hard to see in the dark. Yeah, just turn on a light. Well, I can do that obviously, but I like to play in the dark because it looks a lot more crisp with the TV than with the little, you know, glare from the light above and stuff like that. Why they went after me, I'm not sure. Just because I'm a cleric. And I guess we got rid of that necro. Go ahead and heal this guy up a little bit more before he dies. Although I'm pretty low on life as well because they came over and just smacked me a few times. And again, guys, if you decide you want to get on and play with me, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I know I had a few people who wanted to do some collaboration, and it didn't quite work out. I still have one person who wants to do it, but they're working on their computer right now. They had some issues with it, and that's fine. There's no rush. I'll be doing these videos for quite some time, so just let me know if you're interested in it, and we'll try to work out a schedule so that we can both be on at the same time and just get that all sorted out. It may take a couple weeks for us to finally get it going, but you know, it's worth it in the end because I think that's one of the main reasons to play a game like this, to meet other people, learn from them, and just spend a day hanging out together. I did that with Kevin on Everquest 2, and it was a blast. I hadn't started a character with somebody on that game in quite some time, and then having them go through the quest with you and just kind of sit there and talk about things. He actually told me that they were doing some kind of game with was it Aliens and Predator, and then like Freddy Krueger was going to be in the game as well, and I was trying to figure out in my head like how that game would work because, you know, Freddy's like this dream character that invades your dream. He can't die. Like there's nothing you can do. He's already dead. He's like this you know, fictional character that doesn't ever get hurt no matter what you do to him. You can kind of get him to go away for a little while, but he's never gone. Whereas like Predators and Aliens, they do die. So no matter how tough they are, how do you win against an enemy that's, you know, unbeatable basically? So it's Thor drops his hammer. Oh, that sucks. Hopefully somebody picked it back up and give it to him when he gets back. Because I'm sure he did not mean to do that when he went Link dead. And I am so overweight, which is why I'm moving so slow. But if you guys have any new games that are coming out, or you're a game developer, or you know, just a fan of the show and you want to see me do a certain game in the future, leave that down in the comments. I'll be more than happy. Keyboard issues. Yeah, he's having some. That sucks though. But yeah, leave them down in the comments, and if I can get permission to do Let's Plays from the companies, I will be more than happy to try them out. I'm actually going to be starting a few more here in the next couple weeks, different types of games. There's a Minecraft type game set in space called Space Engineers, I believe it's called, and it looks pretty cool. I'm going to try that one out. I'll try a few others here and there, but we'll always come back to this one. This is going to be my staple of the channel that we'll be doing probably for years to come because it's such a cool game, and it's just one of those games that can take years to even get you know, your raid armor and your epic done and things of that sort. And I'm kind of hesitant to do the epic because I've done it once. Like, I remember doing it with my Cleric, and I remember the pain of sitting there waiting for the camp to spawn and having to worry about oh, there's somebody already there, I have to wait my turn, and they have to wait their, and just constantly trying to do it. And I got pretty lucky with mine for the most part. But I heard horror stories of people who weren't very lucky on some of the spawns that I got pretty easy. And thinking about going through it again, I know this next time around I'm going to pay for the luck that I had on the first one and just have like the worst possible luck I can possibly have getting these spawns. Because some of these names that you have to kill, they have a huge respawn time on them. You know, it could be like a week before the creature spawns again. I remember there's one in lava. Is it lava? No, it's Soulless B. I think there's somebody way over next to the lava, and he had like a week timer on him. And of course, that's a week timer for everybody on the game. So you would have to wait your turn. If you know, if a guild's doing it and they got, you know, 5 people all needing that one piece, you have to compete with that, as well as another guild who may have 20 people or 30 people. And so you may have 60 people on the server working on that same piece who are constantly on. And I remember that one kill required a group. So you would have to sit there and claim it for a whole week. That means your guy has to be on for a whole week. You know, going AFK or yeah, AFK was kind of acceptable, except you kind of had to be there to watch it every once in a while. You know, if somebody asked you, hey, are you here camping this thing? You know, you kind of had to reply to them within like an hour or so. So a lot of people would leave it on in the background while they're at work and stuff like that. But it was a pain to do, and then you had to call your group over as soon as it spawned in a hope that you didn't get some butthead who was willing to just steal it because you didn't get your group together in time, you know. And thankfully I got mine pretty easy. I logged on, it was up. I called in my group, I was like, hey, or my guild, I was like, hey, this guy's up, anybody able to come over here and help me kill it? And immediately got 5 people together and killed it really quickly and got my piece. But I've heard horror stories of people camping that thing for like a year and a half and never getting their turn at it. Finally getting their turn, somebody steals it, and they get basically pushed back to the end because people behind you don't want to risk you being nice and letting somebody else push past you. So they just push past you, and basically you just get reset. And that sucks because somebody just walked all over you, and now everybody's walking all over you. So it's it can be pretty hard to get those done. And some of the epics are a little easier than others, but for the most part, they're called epic for a reason, and that's because they are incredibly hard to do. What are these? Are these better than what I'm wearing? Probably. Go ahead and look at that. They sure are. So we'll go ahead and pick those up. Put that on. 1 AC may not sound like a lot, but in this game, because it's based off of like the old D&D style stats, 1 AC is a huge difference sometimes. 1 wisdom can make a huge difference. One intelligence can make a huge difference. So it's kind of cool. I'm just happy I didn't die. Never mind, still won't link dead. That's some money on that one. And the guy who went link dead is still link dead. He hasn't come back from it yet. Go ahead and drop these on the ground. Maybe somebody else will pick them up. Let me see, what have they been saying? Are we doing alpha? Want to port my new palette from Tox Forest to Greater Fadar. Yeah, porting in this game can be a little difficult sometimes. In fact, I need to keep up with my healing and not worry about so much about what they're talking about in chat channel. Let's get this guy up to full speed. Got a couple people here who aren't in our group. I don't know if they're going to be joining us. Thoro is finally back from his semi-LD. I hadn't seen anybody recover from a link death like that, but I guess it's possible to go link dead and log back in before your character disappears. That's something they got really good at with Everquest 2, is if you go link dead in that game, unlike in Everquest 1, you'll stay in the group, and you'll continue to earn experience and things of that sort for a certain amount of time. It's like, I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes, which is usually enough time for you to log back in. In this game, if you get booted out, a lot of the time it will say this error message saying, you already have a character on the server. Please wait until it boots that character out or something like that, right? And basically, you could log back in, get back into your group, but no, it's telling you that there's a character there already. It's going to go ahead and wait until that character logs out completely because of the link death, and then you can log back in. Basically start from scratch, which sucks. Because if you're a Necro, you lose your pet. If you're a Mage, you lose your pet. You got to do all that stuff all over again. Whereas in Everquest 2, you'll keep your pet, you'll keep your mercenary up, you'll keep getting experience even though you're not there to participate. Because it realizes you will get these spikes in your internet connection. Some people have better internet connections than others. I know I used to have Clear, and they sucked bad. You know, and when I mean bad, I mean I would never suggest them as a company to anyone ever for the rest of my life. That's how bad they are. But some of these other companies are pretty good. I'm using Comcast right now, and I know a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about them for customer service. For my part, I've never seen any of it. They've been a great company to me, great internet, great customer service so far. You know, everybody has their own experiences, but for me, it's pretty good. And I'm able to upload and download really quickly, which is great for my YouTube channel and for making these videos. So, you know, you just kind of have to deal with the connection you have. A lot of people don't have great internet connections, not because they don't want one or can't afford it, but because the area they live in just doesn't have it, you know, put in the ground yet. And so that was the case for where I lived for a long time. I actually live in Katy, not Houston. Katy is not as well known as Houston, and it's about 2 minutes outside the city limits of Houston, and I work inside Houston too. So when I refer to where I live, I usually just say Houston. It's just one of the suburb parts of the city, and it's constantly trying to be taken over by Houston because we have a surplus of money for construction for our roads and things like that. So we got really good. Skip me, I guess. Let them go to somebody else. I don't have any space in my inventory. But yeah, we're constantly trying to take over by Houston because Houston has, if you guys have never driven here, has some of the worst roads you can possibly think of. I'm sure they're going to hate me letting everybody know, but yeah, there are potholes everywhere. And they recently just started doing something I'm not even close to being in favor of, which is building a lot of bridges and high-rise roads. And since they don't even take care of the roads that we have now, and I see what's happening in like California, all over the country really, our roads are in disrepair. They're all like 50 years old and just falling apart. It doesn't make me very confident that in 50 years our roads are going to be much better, and we're going to have, you know, collapses and people dying and things of that sort. So I'm not a huge fan of those types of roads. But yeah, they're constantly trying to come after Katy and get the money that they have so that they can actually waste a little bit more. I mean, they never actually do anything. I saw a movie a long time ago. I can't remember who was in it. This is like a white-collar guy, and he goes crazy one day sitting in traffic, and I think he goes and tries to like kidnap his kid or something like that. But one of the scenes that I remember the most is he goes after these construction crews, right? And he's talking to them, and he's getting real mad at them and stuff, and he's like, "What are you guys fixing?" And they kind of admit to him that we're not actually fixing anything. We're just standing around collecting a paycheck, basically. And I feel that way a lot of the time when I see construction going on the side of the road. And you guys will have to let me know if it's kind of the same way where you live. You'll have construction going on the side of the road, and I'll drive by on my way to work, and I'll drive by on my way home. And both times, every day, I'll never see them doing anything. They're standing there talking to each other, sometimes moving equipment back and forth, but as far as like literally doing something on the road, never see them do it. And a lot of the time they're like leave their equipment all over the place as, I guess, a cheap way of not paying for a parking lot and things of that sort. But it seems pretty pretty bad. I'll probably get picked on by the Teamsters and things, and they'll come after me for that. But I don't know. I think that whole system is kind of just not monitored very well. I'm not gonna be able to run over here to these guys. I can barely walk over here. Come on, guys. You gotta fight it where we can fight. Let me see. Can I get him? Nope. Interrupted. Here we go. Another heal, probably. But yeah, I would love to hear some stories about you guys, where you live. You know, what is it like there? You guys get a lot of rain, a lot of snow. What kind of weather are you guys getting right now? It's moving into the summer months, obviously, and it's starting to get hot here again. Not looking forward to that. This place, it gets really hot and really humid for the majority of the year. I would say about the last 2 years, we've actually gotten some pretty nice, cool weather. Switch USB ports. That can sometimes work if you're having problems with your keyboard. Unless you're using, and I don't know anybody who does, but you could be using a really old keyboard and a really old computer that doesn't even use USB. You used to use those little purple connections, the little round ones that go in and they have little prongs on the back and everything. Anyone need or want a greater light stone? I have an extra. Those are really good if you're going to be going through some dark areas. You put that on or have it on in your back, or not in your backpack, but one of your slots, and your character will actually light up a little bit. It's basically like holding an orb of light. Does it help you see really far into the distance? No, it doesn't do that. It lights up the area around you for like 4 or 5 feet. Now, I remember there's one zone, I can never remember the name of this zone, but it's over by Khazak-Thul. It's a zone you have to go through to get to Khazak-Thul. And a lot of the time people would just go through that zone to get to the zone on the other side, which I can't think of what it is. I think might be Lake Wrath or something like that. And if you guys know what zone I'm talking about, leave that down below. I'd love to find out and let you guys and tell it on the next video. But that zone gets so dark at night. I remember literally going in there and seeing like 7 or 8 people sitting at the entrance. And they're sitting at the entrance not because they are going to hunt in that zone. Literally, they want to just pass through. But the zone is so dark that if you don't have like night vision, like a dark elf has night vision and can see a little bit better at night, and have like a really strong light orb or something along those lines, and even with that light orb, it's usually not good enough in that zone. You guys want some... I don't know what he's referring to, but if people would literally just sit down and wait for dawn to come, because there would be, I think there was like ogres, like the ogre city was there, or the troll city was there. One of those cities was there for the evil people. And so if you were passing through that zone and wasn't completely and totally familiar with it, and even if you were, there was roaming guards that could be pretty much in any place at any one time. Anyone need a backpack? Throwing it on the ground. I guess I'll take it if you don't really need it. That gives me some more space. Who's doing that? Guess I'll wait and see where he throws it. If anybody else wants it, they can pick it up first. But if nobody else does... Backpack will usually be bigger than a little pouch. Little pouch usually means it's a little tiny item. So yeah, so those are pants. Go ahead and drop that on the ground. I guess maybe he gave it to somebody. We'll find out here in a second if he throws it down or not. So that fixed it. Just unplugging the USB wire and plugging it back in was all he really needed to do to reset it. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and loot this guy. Got a little bit of extra money. I'll pull. So the bard's going to go back to pool. Apparently he likes to do that. Some people are better at it than others. Some people, and I'm not even talking about classes, I'm just talking about people. Some people enjoy pooling. They actually get into it and they go all out. I know I do that when I play my paladin, because I grew up playing my Shadow Knight, that it's become like second nature. You never stand still, you know, you're just constantly moving around. And I remember there would be a few times where like the cleric needs to heal, or I mean it needs to med so that he can heal people, and I'd be close to full life, or you know, I'm not really worried about my life, but I'm so ingrained on not sitting still that I would literally just run around the circle in the room, around the cleric, around the enchanter, make a figure eight, jump around, jump over people's heads, and just acting stupid. But it's because my fingers don't want to stop moving, and people would be laughing, just be like, "Oh, we got the greatest pool in the world, right? This guy can't sit still for nothing." Like ADD kind of thing or whatever. And it's funny, but it's true, because you got to get into that whole mindset. You're the guy who needs to be moving. You need to be moving, checking spawns. You just never know when a group is going to leave the spot that they're at. And if you can catch it just right, you can catch the room broken and then keep it broken. And then you now got an extra name. Now you got an extra 2 names, maybe an extra 3 names. And somewhere around the what are they doing? Are they running? Never mind. I'll pull. Where did they all go? I should have been paying attention, I guess. Okay, well, we can't pick that. We don't have any space. Can't pick that up either. And you see, if you move side to side, you actually move faster. So you could technically use that to your advantage, and instead of running through a zone forward, I run through it sideways. And the best way to move around like that is you just hold the second mouse button down and then move the arrow keys. So it's very easy to do that and still actually have fairly decent control over what you're doing. Bring him back around to the wall. Let me see, what are they doing? Did somebody shout it out? No, nobody said anything about it. That's pretty weird. And again, guys, if you want to see more of the game in first person, simply let me know that. I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But for the most part, I usually tend to play over the shoulder, because this gives me the greatest view of what's going on around me. I know when the game first came out, you were kind of stuck with very little of the screen, and sometimes almost no screen. If you were meditating, you had the book in front of you, and really all you could see was the page, and you relied on the tank to be your eyes, and you could still hear, but you relied on him to tell you, hey, we got an ad here, everybody get back up, stop looking at your book. Otherwise, you had no clue what was going on. You didn't get to see any of the screen. So when they added the feature where you could zoom out and really get to see a little bit more, and you no longer had to look at your meditation book to actually meditate, it was a huge part of the game. Like, people would dread going through that, which is why these belts became such a thing. You look at it now and you're like, why would you want to skip past the first 10 levels of the game? This is where you're learning how to play your character. Well, so that you didn't have to sit there and look at a book the whole time, because if you're playing a caster, that's going to be 90% of the game right there. When you're level 1 through 9 or something like that, is looking at that book. The rest of it will be you fighting and then meditating. And it sucks too, because a lot of the stuff you can do now, where you can root the target and then snare the target and then blast it and then wait for a root and snare to break, was a little bit more difficult, because you actually had to look at the chat bar, and the chat bar didn't tell you when root broke. The only way to know that is by looking at the creature. Well, you couldn't see the creature, you were looking at your book. So you would basically get hit 3 or 4 times. The first hit would wake you up and make you stand up from your meditation. The next hit would be you trying to start backing up. Then the third hit would be you turning around, because you realize backing up is incredibly slow and you're not going to get far enough away. The fourth hit would be you getting a couple steps away from the creature, and then you'd be finally far enough away, granted snare didn't break, for you to go ahead and cast root and snare again. That means you're getting about 4 hits every time that happens, and not being able to heal yourself if you're like a wizard or something like that. So it really made soloing pretty difficult at that level. and pretty intolerable for a long time. But once you didn't have to do that anymore, then you had the benefit of being able to see, okay, root broke, I can stand up, I can back up, and I can toss root on it before it even gets close to me because I'm sitting far enough away. So it did change the game, and I definitely want to get that skin and show you guys what that looks like, because it was a pretty big part of the game, and people, as much as I put it down, people remember it kind of fondly, as in that they had to go through it. It's like the suffering that everybody endured, and it kind of brought people together, almost like boot camp for Marines. All the Marines had to go through boot camp, and so there's that. They have that in common. That kind of, oh yeah, I know what that's like. We all went through that kind of thing, and so it was kind of the same thing in the regards that it was something that brought people together. Obviously, not even close to the torment that you would have in actual boot camp that you would go through playing a video game, but as far as like relations of bringing people together, it had the same effect. Let's go ahead and heal this guy real quick. Now, don't get in the habit of having everybody 100%. I've mentioned this a couple times before, but at later levels, your heal spells will be powerful enough that they will be able to heal a tank about 30% to 40% of his life with one spell. And for a caster, that's like 80 to 90% of his health, because a tank is going to have a lot more hit points than a caster. Granted, you can have different level spells mimed, which is what I would usually do. I would have a light heal, I would have a medium-sized heal, and then I would have a large heal. And the reason for doing that is that the large heal would usually consist of my complete heal when I got to like level, I think it's level 39, maybe 49 when you get the complete heal. And that would be used on the tank primarily only. Occasionally on the caster, but it took about 10 seconds to cast. And a caster getting hit would not last more than like 4 or 5 seconds from full life to 0 at that level. So usually not used on him. Then you would have like a superior heal, which would be used on a caster if he was getting beat really hard. If he was, if you could tell that he was going to be at like 40% by the time you cast it, you'd use it. It'd probably be a little bit overkill, and he's going to use a little bit more power than you would prefer, but you could still use the superior heal. And you could use it on a tank as well. If the tank, for whatever reason, pulled a huge room and he's just getting beaten so hard that you don't think you have 10 seconds to cast that complete heal, you'd cast that superior heal maybe once, preferably not more than that, but you may cast it twice, and then start casting the complete heal. Because 2 superior heals should get him close to full life, unless he's just getting beaten so hard that it's not even funny. In which case you're just going to have to use that superior heal over and over and over again, and you'll be out of power in no time. But you do that, and then you'd cast the complete heal, and then hopefully you're now on a rotation of complete heal. You cast a complete heal, maybe wait a couple seconds, cast another one, maybe wait a couple seconds, cast another one, and try to get the timing down right. And of course, the more the creatures you kill, the less you'd have to cast that complete heal, and so on and so forth. But then you would also need a light heal. Oh, they just pulled somebody. Oh, great. Where are these guys coming for? Lord Darnish? Where's he at? I don't know where he's going. It looks like he's coming this way. Lord Darish. And he didn't follow us. Or, he didn't jump onto us. He's only yellow, so not too bad. We probably could have taken him. But we are fighting a few more creatures here than we probably would care to have, taking that guy on at least. But you'd also have a light heal for the casters, because occasionally they'd get hurt, maybe be at 70% or something like that, and you don't want to have them that low, because they take hits so easily that if they are that low and they get jumped on by maybe 1 or 2 creatures for half a second, it could literally kill them. But you also don't want to use a superior heal on them, and you definitely don't want to use a complete heal. That would just be a waste. So you need something smaller that you could cast on them and give them just that extra little bubble or something of life. Who's on the pads? One's here. So usually for that, I like to have about 3 heals, sometimes 4 if you were in some kind of like weird scenario where they're pulling a couple other guys. I think these guys are green. Not even getting experience for these anymore. It's a good thing they're pulling friends inside the throne room, and I'm making some decent ones there. Ah, come on. What did they come right for me? Just because I'm doing some healing? Get it off. Get them off. Come on, guys. I'm going to go ahead and heal myself. Which got interrupted. There we go. Back up a little bit more. I'll toss myself one last heal and then I'll sit down. I don't like healing myself. I think it's a waste of power. For the most part, I'm not one of those people who are pretty skittish around low life. I know a lot of wizards, if they're at like 50%, they'd be like, please heal me. You know, I'm like, seriously, you're probably not going to get hit again. You know, the fight's almost over. You can just sit down and let the druid's chloroplast heal you, or the bard's regen song heal you, or just use your natural healing ability from regenning after the fight to heal yourself. You know, it's not that big of a deal, but you know, they have that peace of mind that they want. I don't mind giving it to them if I got the extra power, but when it comes to myself, I'll let myself get all the way down to like 30% life and not really heal myself because it's not really worth it. The amount of times I get hit in a fight could be counted on one hand in the amount of like 4 or 5 hours. So it doesn't happen too often, especially at later levels. Once you get that complete heal, the game completely and totally changes for the healer. Before that complete heal, you may be stealing aggro quite a bit because all you got is that supreme heal that does take quite a bit of the aggro away from the tank because it does so much healing. But the complete heal does even more healing, and yet it doesn't pull that kind of aggro. I don't know why. It's just the way it's set up. They did that so that you could literally heal your group without stealing aggro, because it was getting a little ridiculous there for a while, the way the spells were working. And I'm not sure if they intended it for that and it just decided to change their mind after the fact, or if that was just something that they didn't intend that seemed to happen, and complete heal was their way of fixing it, basically. But I talk a lot about that one because that one does take skill because of the 10 seconds. The 10 seconds can literally be a nightmare for some people. People hate that timer on the 10 seconds, getting that down. If you don't... I didn't want to do that. I was trying to see what level it was. Get over here. For me, I never really had that issue. I know I've said I have a lot of respect for enchanters because they're able to mez really well. Well, some people feel the same way about clerics being able to heal the way they do and not get stressed out. For me, it's not that big of a deal. Let's see what's on this Lord guy. Two-handed axe. It's 14 damage, 43 delay, two-handed slashing primary, 6.5 size on the weight. Is medium, war, paladin, ranger, shadow knight, bard, rogue, and races all. Yes, ma'am. That was in order. Got my pads. Belts here. Anyone need it? I guess I'll go ahead and leave that. That'd be cool to have and give to one of my alts. Go ahead and toss one of these little weapons down on the ground. There we go. Wasn't letting me do it there for a while. Or maybe I'll find a newbie character that I can give that stuff to, because that'd be cool to give back finally some decent stuff. Go ahead and toss a heal on this guy. I should have been sitting down meditating, but I'm sitting over there messing with the loot. Here we go. I'm getting experience, and I'm still getting faction hits. I've been here for quite some time, and we haven't maxed out our faction, really. Crushbone orcs could not possibly get any worse. Maxing out your faction as far as bad is always going to be quicker than maxing it out in the good way. So the Emerald Warriors got better, and the Fadar's champions got better. That's going to take forever to get all the way up. And it's just the way it is. You probably have to hunt here for a good month, maybe more, to get that faction to be maxed out. Because I've gone from, I think we came here at level 4. You probably have to go back and see the videos to see exactly what level we got here at. But I think we got here around level 4, and we've been here ever since. Killing orcs inside Crushbone, killing orcs outside Crushbone. You get faction for both of them because they're orcs the same way. You guys just will not leave me alone, will you? Just won't let me meditate. Gonna have to let them know I am down to 10%. Keep the orcs off of me for a little while, guys. So we're going to go ahead and end the episode here, guys. If you like these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely helps my channel grow. I can greatly appreciate it. I know there's a lot of companies out there that won't even let you do Let's Plays of their games unless you have a certain subscriber base, which is somewhat unfortunate, but that's just the way it works. So anytime you guys hit that little subscribe button, allows me to review more games in the future. Get more giveaways to you guys. I've done that with Heroes of the Storm. I just recently gave some codes away to some of my viewers who have left comments and things of that sort. So again, guys, if you have any comments that you want to leave below, you're welcome to do that, and I'll catch you on the next video.